you've had an amazing career. If I may ask, how old are you right now?
80 and a half.
80 and a half?
That's correct.
That's amazing. So what drove you to work so hard and create such an amazing life for yourself?
Well, I was on my way to medical school since I was a little boy. When I was 15, though, I decided to go to the public library and get a book. And I was fully aware that Black folk were not permitted to go into the public library. So I went into the public library to get a book because my father fought in World War I, my brother served in World War II, my very special cousin in Korea. And so we pay taxes and fight wars. I want the benefits of citizenship. So I went and I was arrested. And that was what set me onto this. I've been a warrior for justice from that day until this day.
That's amazing. Where were you raised and born? Where were you born and raised?
Opelousas, Louisiana.
Oh, okay. So you're born there in Louisiana. And so that drove you to do the work that you have done. Have you had a good impact on society?
Yes, sir. I've had an extraordinary career for a country boy from the cornfields of Louisiana.
Right on. And how do you see life? How did you see life then, and how do you see it now in America?
America is absolutely, I've traveled all over the world. America is the best place on earth to live. The greatest amount of freedoms, the greatest amount of opportunity. So I've always fought to make it just a little bit better. It's not perfect. It was never perfect, and it never will be perfect.
Right.
But if I can add just a little bit, make it a little bit better,
yeah,
then my passing through this way would not have been in vain.
It's amazing how well you've done for yourself and going through all the tough times, especially when you couldn't go to the library and all that because of your color. What's wrong with the blacks now that they, not all, but most, they pretend they can't make it? What's wrong with the blacks today?
I don't know. I don't really understand. I think it was the way that they were reared in this generation and the generation, the 2 generations behind me. The problem is that they complain and whine and that's it.
Yeah.
Instead of putting on your big boy britches and making some change and moving forward.
I grew up in Alabama on a plantation, and my great-grandparent worked the same plantation, and we never complained. We worked hard. Even as a kid, I had to go to cotton field when I got out of school. I had to help with the plantations. So I never complained growing up. It was not allowed. I never thought about complaining anyway, and I never complained. And I'm a little, not now, I'm not surprised, but I'm surprised to see blacks complaining and not making and believing that they can't, whatever it is they want to do, whatever making means to them, they can do it in America, but they don't see it. They don't realize that.
That is 100% true. I'm sitting right now on the property where my grandfather, my mother's daddy, was born a slave in the 1850s. When he finished slavery, he could have gone anywhere that he wanted to. He chose to stay right here, to work for the same man who had been his master. And ultimately, he purchased this property. And the big house is exactly 1 block from where I'm sitting right now.
Wow. That's amazing. I remember the big house down in Alabama, too. I remember, Elbert, when the civil rights movement started. And prior to the civil rights movement, blacks were more independent. They didn't have like leaders that would tell them how to vote, what to do, when to do it. they were more independent then. But after the civil rights movement, I saw them give up their free thinking and self-responsibility, and they started to rely on the so-called civil rights leaders and others to tell them how to think and who to vote for, when to vote, who to blame, and all that. Did you see the same thing?
Absolutely. You are 100% correct about what I have seen in this life.
Yeah.
Here in Louisiana and across America. That's true. We were much more independent before the civil rights movement.
Yeah.
And we didn't put all our eggs in one basket.
Right.
After the civil rights, we started putting all our eggs into one basket, listening to a few, sad to say, some preachers that were leading us in that direction.
Yeah, Martin Luther King and all those guys, it was a bad thing. So I think that was one, other than abortion, I think that was the worst thing that happened to the blacks when the civil rights movement came along and they gave up their freedom of thinking and doing for themselves. And it just has not been the same since then. It's just been a mess.